Hello and welcome to Bliponomics. Phil ran out of gas on the way to the studio tonight. I'm Jerry Anthony, and tonight we are talking Scott Lang and his new book, Look Out for the Little Guy. Not sponsored. I will give you my thoughts and you guys give me yours. Please subscribe wherever you're watching to Bliponomics. And if you want to be a part of the show, send an email. bliponomics@gmail.com. Scott Lang, a.k.a. Ant-Man, a.k.a. the whistleblower, hacker, thief, ex-con, business owner, superhero, ex-husband, Avenger, time-traveling, ant-whispering, podcasting, father, and author of the new book, Look Out for the Little Guy. And if we believe the back page section, it says Scott Lang is a scientist, inventor with a master's degree in electrical engineering. He has been an ice cream scooper, a corporate whistleblower, a consultant for Pim Van Dyne Foundation, and an Avenger. He lives in San Francisco. This book has sold a ton of copies, and it's generally well-reviewed. Let's just take the reviews on the back of the book, for example. Introduces the man behind the hero, and the hero I call friend, Dr. Bruce Banner. Sam Wilson writes, "So when the other Avengers wondered who should write a book about us, I knew Scott was the guy. He's been full of surprises since the day we met, and this book is no exception. Everyone should read it." Wow, that's from Captain America. Dr. Stephen Strange. "If you had always hoped Ant-Man would write a book, you're in luck. I confess I did not, but I enjoyed it all the same." Dr. Strange, he's so funny and relatable. Clint Barton, who we will discuss later in the show, you will see. "I can't think of a better person to tell the world what it's like to be an Avenger than Scott. This book hits its mark." Oh, the book hits its mark because he's Hawkeye. Good stuff. Christine Everhart. Funny, intense, and honest. The transparency we have been waiting for from our superpowered citizens. Christine Everhart. Yes, that Christine Everhart. Which is a very curious choice because these two, back in 2015, were the stars of my favorite news clip of all time.
Every step of the way, my name's been dragged through the mud by the media, and now I'm locked away from my family, and I'm the only one that's facing any consequences. That is pissing me off.
Scott Lang getting tased, it makes me laugh every single time. So what do I think? Is this a good book? I don't know. It's super interesting, I can tell you that. It's interesting for what it includes. Like it includes a first-hand account of the Battle of Earth and the so-called time heist. It's also interesting for what it omits, too. Like, why is Scott Lang in Rogers the Musical? Or, mostly, personally, why he doesn't take responsibility for that thing he left in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Allegedly. I don't want to get sued, but I mean, come on. It's no great mystery. We've seen Scott Lang get giant. We've seen him grow large buildings. Is it really a stretch to take a bunch of those Pym particles and make a small island? An island that happens to look like a hand coming out of the water with one of the thumbs looking like a wiener? Come on, this is Scott Lang written all over it. Yeah, I saw the wiener thumb, so now you have to too. Enough about what's not in the book. We have to talk about what's in the book. And there is a lot. Some revelations, some confirmations, and I have to tell you one kind of offhanded remark that he wrote that really stuck with me. And later, it sent me down a rabbit hole and honestly caused me to be a little shook because, I believe Scott Lang effed up and said a little bit too much. Something may have slipped past the editors and may have gotten one of his Avenger friends in big trouble. But I'm going to save that for last. Sorry. I'll save. Sorry. Now it's time for the book review. Okay. Look Out for the Little Guy by Scott Lang. My immediate reaction is that it feels like it's a book written for a 12-year-old boy. There's a lot of superheroes can cry too. Look at me. I'm just a regular guy. You can be a superhero too. That kind of stuff. But at the same time, Lang reminds you over and over again that he was the one who helped save half the universe. that it was his idea. I mean, it's in the first paragraph of the introduction. So he does some flip-flopping between modesty and false modesty. It's like a theme for this guy. And one of the, quote, revelations in this book, I guess, was confirmation of one of the worst-kept secrets in U.S. intelligence history, that Hank Pym was operating as Ant-Man as early as the 1970s, meaning they've had Pym particles for over 50 years. 50 years! And we still haven't replenished the ice caps, still haven't solved water shortages around the world. There's still starving children. But no. Pym particles are apparently only safe for superhero stuff. However, Scott Lang does assure us that his girlfriend, Hope Van Dyne's corporation, the Pym Van Dyne Technologies, is working on all these problems. I personally think what they're actually trying to do is figure out a way to sell it to the government, keep the formula a secret, and make a tiny profit in between. But of course, it's just my opinion. Back to the book. Scott Lang tells us the Avengers asked him to write this book. Specifically, Clint Barton and Dr. Bruce Banner asked him to write this book, which seems a little bit out of character to me, but whatever. Moving on, there is a very cute essay by his young daughter, Cassie, which she tells the cute and adorable story about how the head of a rival corporation attempted to kidnap her, and her father, that CEO, right in her bedroom, right in front of her. I mean, it's just adorable stuff. There's a chapter on communicating with ants, which is both fascinating and freaky at the same time. And yet another amazing, world-changing invention by Hank Pym that he's hoarded for himself for 50 years. There's a chapter on Hope Van Dyne and heroing with benefits. You can read about that one yourself. And of course, the most talked about part of this book, we finally get a first-hand account of the Battle of Earth and what they call the time heist, the mission to go back in time to undo the blip, which for the most part was a success. I mean, I wouldn't be here without them, and I am truly forever in their debt, because I like being here. Which brings me finally to the absolute best chapter in Look Out for the Little Guy, the tribute to the great Avenger, Natasha Romanoff, who sacrificed her life on an alien planet for just a chance to bring everyone back. It's a chapter dedicated to an amazing person that we don't talk nearly enough about. But it was in this chapter I read something, like I said in the opening, that sort of sent me down the rabbit hole. Here it is, page 129. Scott is recounting a conversation he and Clint had about Natasha's sacrifice. Scott writes, Clint too presented a different side of Nat. He spoke of how after the blip took away his entire family, he dealt with his grief by spiraling into bloody vigilantism. Then one night in Tokyo, he just finished taking out a Yakuza crime boss and his minions and saw a figure waiting for him. It was Nat come to tell him my time heist idea and the possibility of undoing the snap. That seems pretty innocuous enough for Avenger. It's Avenger-type stuff. He's working, he's taking out gangs. Again, standard Avenger stuff. But then later, Lang writes on page 131, Clint felt powerfully that at long last it was finally time for someone else to save Nat. And furthermore, that his life at this point was undeserving of yet one more Nat save. He reminded her of what he'd become since the snap and how death was an appropriate remedy for him. Now, these are apparently Clint's words. That does sound a bit darker than just Avengers stuff. Is this Clint Barton being too hard on himself? What had he become? So I did a little bit of digging, and it turns out around the same time the book describes, about the time when they were assembling the Avengers for the time heist, there was indeed a brutal execution of several gang members and their leader in Tokyo. And the Tokyo press claimed that it was the Ronin. That Ronin, the Kaiser Soze type figure that terrorized gang members worldwide during the blip. But the Ronin-Barton connection also gets deeper. When I search last known Ronin sightings, it seems Ronin was seen going after the mafia in New York City last Christmas. Now, this wouldn't be that big of a deal, but it was just a few days later that Barton had an altercation with those very same gang members about Christmas time at the Rockefeller Center. Now, this could be a coincidence too. Or Barton and the Ronin could be working together. Barton could be trying to flip another bad guy into an Avenger like he did with Natasha Romanoff, or what they tried and failed to do with Wanda Maximoff. But then when you take the New York coincidence and the Tokyo connection, and you put that together with the information in Lang's book, I think Scott Lang may have outed Clint Barton as the serial 86er Ronin. Am I wrong? Am I crazy? Is there another explanation? Please tell me, because I love Clint Barton, and this puts him kind of in an entirely different light, and may change some people's opinions about him. But that's my story. Let's hear yours, and we are going to get to your email next after this short break. And we are back. We are talking Scott Lang's new book, Look Out for the Little Guy. And we're going to read some emails. First one out of the gate, Sam. Sam writes, Dear Jerry, I just listened to your podcast and I have to say I wish I didn't. I don't care one way or the other about Scott Lang, but I am disgusted by your baseless accusations about Clint Barton. Let me remind you that Barton has put his life on the line countless times to protect our country, our world, and even the entire universe. He's a hero, plain and simple. I agree. Sure, he went through a rough patch during the blip, but you wouldn't understand that, Jerry. You vanished. Those who remained did what needed to be done, cleaning up the streets when governments and law enforcement had fallen apart. Take it from me, a veteran, and someone who didn't blip away like you. You don't get to judge those who remained. Sometimes you have to do the hard thing to protect innocent lives. You have no right to judge a man like Barton. He isn't a serial killer. He's a soldier who went rogue for all the right reasons. Maybe you should spend less time picking apart our heroes and more time appreciating them for the sacrifices they made. Thank you, Sam. It is true. I was blipped. I do not know what it was like the 5 years. I've heard about it. I know it was terrible. But not everyone decided to take the law into their own hands and hack people apart with a sword. But thanks, Sam. Carol writes, Dear Jerry, I just finished listening to your podcast and I am appalled at the baseless accusations you're throwing around about Clint Barton. The idea that Clint, Hawkeye, could be Ronin and responsible for such atrocities is completely ridiculous. You clearly don't know the man. I don't. Clint has always been about protecting people, not harming them. He was an Avenger for a reason. He spent his entire career saving lives. Look at how he fought for Wanda Maximoff, how he stood by Natasha Romanoff, how he risked his life countless times to keep civilians safe. You think a man like that would suddenly start slaughtering gang members? Please. If anything, he was probably tracking down the real Ronin, trying to stop him, like the hero he's always been. Carol continues, It's sad that instead of appreciating what Barton's done for the world, you're using flimsy evidence and wild coincidences to paint him as some kind of villain. You want to dig up old conspiracy theories for views, but all you're doing is tarnishing the reputation of one of Earth's greatest heroes. Maybe you should check your facts before slandering someone who's risked everything to save us. I don't know if it's true. I hope it's not true. I love Clint Barton. This is not me saying it. It's their own words. But thank you, Carol. Our next email comes from Cliff. Cliff, man, I used to love Scott Lang. When he was a real hero, he was a scrappy dude who fought predatory capitalism. He fought for people who were forgotten by the system. He was driving sports cars into swimming pools, man. But now, writing books and cozying up to big corporations, look out for the little guy? Bitch, please. He's attempting to cash in on the whole superhero craze, and it's disgusting. Scott used to be a symbol of resisting authority, of standing up for what's right. Now he's just part of the system he used to fight against. Promoting Pim Van Dyne like they're the solution to the world's problems when they're just another corporate player hoarding technology that could literally solve world hunger. It's a slap in the face to everyone who once believed in him. Superheroes shouldn't be for sale, but that's what Scott's become. Just another brand. Look out for the little guy? Not anymore. Peace. Cliff. Cliff, that was a good email. I I suppose before he even put on the Ant-Man suit, he was a hero to a lot of us. He was kind of like the first real-life Robin Hood. Maybe not the first, but he was a real-life Robin Hood. He's not all that bad now. He's just kind of a douche. Jennifer writes, I can't believe you've had the nerve to criticize Scott Lang after everything he's done for the world. He may joke around, but make no mistake, he's a hero. Without Scott, half the universe would be gone. How quickly people forget. Well, I don't think it's that quick. He reminds everyone that he saved the world plenty of times in this book. You make light of the fact that Scott wrote this book, but he did it because his fellow Avengers wanted him to. Do you really think people like Clint Barton and Bruce Banner would ask him if they didn't think it was important? You should be ashamed of yourself for treating Scott like some kind of a joke. He's just not the guy who got tased or the one who talks to ants. I'm sorry, that tasing video was just so funny. It just makes me laugh every time I think about it. Scott is the reason so many people got their lives back. Show some respect for the man who saved us all. Yes, I do not deny that. But to say that he's not getting enough credit is a little silly. We have an email. It is unsigned. Starts out, yo, you stupid son of a bitch. Delete this shit right now. In fact, don't bother. No one listens to this bullshit anyway. Unknown continues. I don't know who the hell you think you are, but you need to keep Clint Barton's name out of your mouth. You think it's funny to accuse him of being Ronin? You think people don't know what's what? Barton was there when half the planet vanished, and I guarantee you that if he was out there taking out the trash, the world was a better place for it. Maybe you should be careful who you accuse. Not accusing anyone of anything. I'm simply asking questions. You know how things work in New York, right? People like me, we don't forget. If I hear another word about Barton being Ronin from your mouth, we might have to have a real conversation. Watch yourself, kid. I think that was a real-life actual threat. Well, that sounds like it's about enough time for one day. Thank you very much for hanging out till the end. I really appreciate it. Leave some comments. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you made it this far. I mean, you might as well. Phil will be back next time. I'm Jerry Anthony. This is Bliponomics. We will see you next time.